July 13, 2022, the Col de Grenade. Two titans of cycling locked in a battle that would define a generation of the sport. The whir of the carbon wheels on the tarmac, the laboured breathing of the world's best cyclist, the roar of the crowd. This is the Tour de France, and we're witnessing history in the making. But how did we get here? To understand the rivalry, we need to go back to the beginning. In the picturesque town of Komenda, Slovenia, a young Tadej Pogacar is taking his first pedal strokes. Even as a kid, Tadej was always on his bike. He'd ride for hours, just exploring. You could see the joy it brought him. Meanwhile, in Hillerslev, Denmark, Jonas Vingegaard is working part-time in a fish factory, dreaming of bigger things. Jonas was always a quiet boy, but on the bike, he came alive. He'd ride in any weather, rain, wind, it didn't matter. What sets these two apart is not just their physical gifts, but their mental approach. Pogacar has an almost supernatural ability to read a race, while Vingegaard's methodical, analytical style allows him to push his body to its absolute limits. As Pogacar blazed through the junior ranks, Vingegaard's path was less direct, but both were driven by an insatiable hunger for victory. Tadej has this incredible ability to suffer, but more than that, he has a tactical mind beyond his years. He can read a race like a few others. While Pogacar was marketing himself as a future star, Vingegaard was still finding his feet in the professional peloton. When Jonas first came to us, he was raw talent, but you could see the potential. His power to weight ratio was off the charts. As the 2020 Tour de France approached, the stage was set for their first encounter on cycling's biggest stage. But before we get into that, the paid partner for today's video is BetterHelp. It's no secret that many cyclists struggle with mental health issues. I've personally had friends and family go through tough times where they use the bike in order to escape from their problems. Often riding for several hours, it'd be the only place they felt their head would be clear. If this sounds familiar to you or someone you know, I'd like to introduce you to BetterHelp. It's a safe place to be matched with a credentialed therapist who can help you work through your challenges and really does care about you. All you have to do to get started is click the link below, visit betterhelp.com/truesportslaw or select True Sports Law at sign up. Once you've signed up, you can use their extensive matchmaking tool to find the right therapist for you. I have been lucky enough to grow up with a therapist in the family, and I can personally attest to how important it is to share and talk through whatever is going on in your life. Now back to the video. The air is thick with the tension as the riders line up in Nice. The world is in the grip of a pandemic, and this tour is like none other. For 3 weeks, the cycling world watches in awe as a 21-year-old Pogacar goes toe-to-toe with the best in the world. But it's the penultimate stage that will go down in Tour history.
Pogacar sprints his way over the top of this climb. He's given this the absolute fury of a man who wanted the yellow jersey.
He averaged 6.5 watts per kilogram for nearly 16 minutes, numbers we rarely see in the sport's history. It was a clear sign that we were witnessing the emergence of a generational talent.
I think I'm dreaming, that's all. I really don't know what to say. Yeah, unbelievable.
Hey, it's not a dream, you've won it.
As Pogacar stands atop of the podium in Paris, a devastated Primož Roglič stands by his side. Vingegaard not at the race, but he's watching, learning, preparing for his own moment in the sun. The 2021 Tour de France sees Tadej Pogacar return as defending champion, while Vingegaard makes his debut as a domestique for Primož Roglič. But fate has other plans.
Another crash on the right hand side. It's a Jumbo-Visma rider. A Jumbo-Visma rider just outside of your picture. Just look on the right hand side here.
Roglič.
It's Roglič who's down, and you can see them all on the radio. I'm afraid he's looking pretty banged up, and this is disaster for Primož Roglič.
With Roglič out, Vingegaard is given the opportunity to ride for himself. On stage 11, featuring a double ascent of Mont Ventoux, the cycling world gets its first glimpse of what's to come.
Can Vingegaard crack him? He's looking, he's going to get rid of Pogacar. Jonas Vingegaard has cracked Tadej Pogacar on the climb of the Mont Ventoux. He looks around, the white jersey is getting rid of the yellow jersey.
What impressed us most about Jonas was his ability to recover. On Mont Ventoux, he was the only rider who could match Pogacar, pushing over 6 watts per kilogram for more than 20 minutes after 2 weeks of racing. It was clear he had the engine to challenge for the yellow jersey. Although Pogacar goes on to win the Tour convincingly, Vingegaard's second place finish serves notice that a new challenger had arrived.
Obviously I knew I was in good shape, and the team also knew. We talked about it and they said before that I had the numbers in training to go on the podium, but I mean, one thing is in training and another thing is racing. So obviously I knew I was in good shape, but I never imagined getting second in my first Tour de France.
The 2022 Tour de France is billed as the ultimate showdown between Pogacar and Vingegaard. The cycling world holds its breath, wondering if the young Slovenian can be dethroned.
He can celebrate, he can soak it all in. The crowd warmly welcoming the yellow jersey, who will ride tomorrow into Paris as the winner of the 2022 Tour de France.
For days, the two rivals watch each other closely. Then, on stage 11, with its fearsome summit finish on Col de Grenon, Jumbo-Visma unleashes their master plan.
Immediate attack by Vingegaard as he strikes to try and get rid of the rest of the riders. Big attack of Jonas Vingegaard. He goes clear. Immediately onto the wheel goes Geraint Thomas on the yellow jersey. Vingegaard goes again, launches down the left-hand side, flat out. Pogacar immediately jumps onto the wheel.
What Jumbo-Visma did on Grenon was brilliant. They used Primož Roglič as a foil, forcing Pogacar to respond to multiple attacks. By the time Vingegaard made his move, Pogacar was isolated and vulnerable. It was a perfect example of how team strength can overcome individual brilliance. As the peloton shatters on the slopes of the Galibier, Pogacar finds himself alone, surrounded by Jumbo-Visma riders. The unthinkable is happening. The invincible champion is cracking.
And Pogacar showing weakness for the first time in his career.
On the Grenon, Vingegaard sustained over 6.8 watts per kilogram for nearly 35 minutes. These are the kind of numbers that win Grand Tours. More importantly, he forced Pogacar into the red zone, exposing a chink in the Slovenian's armour. Jonas is incredibly strong. I'm giving everything I have, but he's just better right now.
Good to see you today, Tadej. Have you thought a bit about what Jonas Vingegaard did yesterday and how much of a strong rival he is for you?
Yeah, after yesterday I saw how really strong he is. Yeah, I was still happy and the better man beats me.
Vingegaard rides into yellow that day, gaining almost 3 minutes on Pogacar, but the Tour is far from over. Over the next days, Pogacar launches attack after attack, trying desperately to claw back time, but Vingegaard, supported by his powerful team, holds firm.
And now Pogacar. We get the launch, the big attack. Tadej Pogacar launches. He goes clear. Well, he has got the legs today. He says, I want some revenge, and now he's going to try and get it. The white jersey of Pogacar is trying to take back some time.
The final blow comes in the last time trial, where Vingegaard not only defends but extends his lead. As he crosses the line on the Champs-Élysées, Denmark has its first Tour de France winner since Bjarne Riis in 1996. As the 2023 Tour begins, the cycling world wonders, can Pogacar reclaim his crown, or will Vingegaard prove his victory was no fluke? Pogacar has been on a rampage this spring, winning nearly everything, but Vingegaard has been quietly building form. This could be the closest Tour de France in years. For 2 weeks the rivals are inseparable, gaining and losing time on each other throughout. Neither can gain an advantage in the Pyrenees or the Alps. But then comes the stage 16 time trial.
But here comes Jonas Vingegaard. Jonas Vingegaard has flown his way from Passy to Combloux. This is a stunning, stunning time trial. The stunning assassin. He is going to win this time trial. Jonas Vingegaard, 1 minute 38 seconds.
What we saw from Vingegaard in that time trial was a masterclass in pacing. He started conservatively but ramped up his power output in the second half. He was pushing close to 7 watts per kilo on the climbs, but crucially, he maintained his aerodynamic position on the flatter sections. It was the perfect balance of power and efficiency. Pogacar, usually so strong against the clock, he had no answer. but the worst was yet to come.
It's a big gap now. I was hoping for less gap. I was hoping to be in yellow today, but yeah, that's how it is today. I hope it's like a Marie Blanc stage, so then tomorrow I can have good legs like it was the first week.
The very next day, on the brutal climb of Col de Los, Pogacar's tour fell apart.
So it's proven, as we always forecast, that this is going to be a real test, and we would be seeing some surprises, and that's what we're seeing on our picture here. Tadej Pogacar is the one who is in big difficulty.
Vingegaard's second consecutive Tour de France victory by a margin of over 7 minutes leaves no doubt about his status as the world's best stage racer. But for Pogacar, it's a bitter pill to swallow. One thing to mention was that Pogacar crashed out of Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which made his preparation for the 2023 Tour de France not as good. He was able to keep up with Jonas Vingegaard up until stage 17, when everything came crashing down. This, however, was a lesson that Jonas Vingegaard was about to learn for the following tour. The 2024 season brings new challenges. Vingegaard suffers a horrific crash in the Basque Country, while Pogacar continues to dominate the one-day classics. Can Vingegaard overcome his injuries, and will Pogacar reclaim his crown after already having won the Giro d'Italia earlier this year? Team UAE have clearly learned from their past mistakes. They build a team around Pogacar that can match Jumbo-Visma in the mountains. With riders like Adam Yates and Juan Ayuso, they can isolate Vingegaard in a way they couldn't before. The race unfolds like a chess match, with neither rider willing to show their hand too early. But on the slopes of the Plateau de Bie, Pogacar finally breaks Vingegaard.
This is the attack. Pogacar puts on the power. Vingegaard immediate reaction, closing in. He looks behind to see what the situation is, and he's unable to close the gap on Pogacar. What's remarkable about Pogacar in this year's tour is his ability to produce repeated high-intensity efforts. On the Plateau de Bie, he averaged 6.98 watts per kilogram for nearly 40 minutes, the highest sustained power output we've ever seen on that climb. But more impressively, he was able to launch multiple attacks in the final kilometers, each one over 1,000 watts. It's the combination of endurance and explosiveness that makes Pogacar so dangerous. Pogacar's stage win is more than just a Tour de France stage win. He shattered Marco Pantani's 26-year-old record on that climb, completing the ascent 3 minutes and 40 seconds faster than the Italian had done in 1998. What we're seeing from Pogacar is unprecedented. To break Pantani's record by such a margin is a level of performance we've never seen in cycling before. As Pogacar extends his lead in the following days, Vingegaard fights bravely, but the efforts of his early season crash begins to tell. I'm giving everything I have, but Tadej is simply on another level this year, but I'll keep fighting until Nice. In Nice, it's Pogacar who stands atop of the podium, reclaiming the title he'd lost 2 years before, but as he celebrates, both he and the cycling world knows that this rivalry is far from over.
All in all, I'm super happy and proud, and big thanks to my family, my friends that support me, my teammates, the whole team, the sponsors, and everybody that was behind this victory for the last many years. We were working hard for this, and yeah, I'm super happy, and let's enjoy this moment, and thank you everybody.
As the dust settles on the 2024 Tour de France, the cycling world is already looking ahead to next year's battle. The question on everyone's lips is, how long can a rivalry continue at such a high level? What we're seeing with Pogacar and Vingegaard is reminiscent of the great rivalries of the past. Coppi and Bartali, Anquetil and Polidor. But what sets this apart is the level at which they're performing. They're pushing each other to heights we've never seen before in the sport of cycling. The fascinating thing about this rivalry is how it's driving innovation in training and nutrition. Both riders are at the cutting edge of sports science, using altitude training, heat acclimation, and precision nutrition to eke out every possible marginal gain. It's elevating the entire sport. But the landscape of professional cycling is ever changing. The 2024 Tour saw UAE Team Emirates emerge as the dominant force, reminiscent of the Jumbo-Visma squad that powered Vingegaard to victory in previous years. This shift in team dynamics could play a crucial role in future tours. Will Vingegaard's Visma Lease bike team be able to rebuild their strength to match UAE's firepower? We faced setbacks this year, but we've already been planning for 2025. Jonas has shown incredible resilience, and we're confident in our ability to support him reclaiming the yellow jersey. But it's not just about Pogacar and Vingegaard. The emergence of young talents like Remco Evenepoel and Juan Ayuso suggests that the competition could become even fiercer in the coming years. Vingegaard and Pogacar have set the bar incredibly high, but that's inspiring the next generation to push even harder. The future of cycling looks very bright indeed. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the like button down below, and if you want to see more, click the subscribe button as well. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.